All right, so I'm here again with another amazing agent. This is Mr. Walter Mackelburg with Sotheby's, Premier Sotheby's Realty.
Yes.
And we're doing an interview to help potential buyers and sellers get an idea about these agents and see who they may or may not want to work with. So here's an interview video to kind of help you get to know them better. How you doing today?
Very good, Jay. Thanks for coming. It's been great knowing you all these years, and great to have you here, and the opportunity for us to kind of like share this with the potential buyers and sellers.
All right. Yeah, and I appreciate the working relationship we have as well. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into real estate?
Well, Jay, I had been working for Fortune 500 companies developing international markets for 24 years. And my associates in the business wanted to invest in the U.S. I had put 3 million miles in airlines, staying in hotels and traveling in the scans. And I decided that it was time for me to do something that will give me a little bit more stability and less traveling. So it was an opportunity to help my friends and associates from Latin America to make investments here in the U.S. So I started very focused on the foreign national markets, and then it evolved into where we are today.
How long have you been in real estate?
Actually, I got my license the first time in 2001.
Okay.
And then I had back 2008, I went back into the high-tech field. And then about 8 years ago, I reactivated my license. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay. Did the crash of 2008 push you out of it? What happened there?
Pretty much, yeah. I think it was a little bit of the downturn of the market and an offer that I received from a company, from another Fortune 500 company, that I couldn't resist based on how the economy was, and an opportunity to take a challenge that was quite attractive in the international field as well.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What did you do before 2001?
Before 2001, I worked for this Fortune 500 companies developing business, especially in the Latin American market. So I travel all over the world working for these companies, building distribution channels mainly in the high-tech space.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. All right. What type of properties do you specialize in?
Well, I have been through the different segments of the market, although now I specialize in the luxury market. But I think that I like to answer that in a different way, because although luxury market is my focus and where I want to go, I am more focused in the customer, in the client, and the needs of the client, in spite of what the segment of real estate they'll be looking for. I like to look, I like to listen to the client, their needs, what they want, and then, how they want to sell the property, or what type of property they want to buy. Mm-hmm. I'm more focused on the listing side of the business, but I work with buyers and try to accommodate to their needs, aside of what the market segment of real estate they may want to go to.
Okay, makes sense. Now, are there any specific loan products that you specialize with, or is it whatever, cash, conventional, FHA?
Well, let me tell you what, I'm a mortgage broker, loan officer, broker loans as well. So I have a portfolio of several hundred banks that I work with. So that makes it easier, and is a benefit to my clients as well, because I can pre-qualify the offer before it's actually presented to my client, in a way that we maximize the return of investment on time while we go through the transaction process. So, of course, I have the slew of products. FHA, conventional being the easier ones. That's not my cup of tea. I like to work more on the challenging non-QM, non-qualified mortgages for those type of loans. But then, of course, in the luxury market space that we move in, most likely there are a lot of cash buying opportunities as well, more than financing.
Do you typically work with buyers or sellers?
Well, I do work, and my focus today is more on the seller side, especially because it's the area of the market that needs the most help. And we're in a balanced market now. So it's not a buyer's market, it's not a seller's market, but it's definitely an opportunity for buyers to get sellers to make concessions and to make the offer of the property more attractive. And that's where the clients need more assistance. How do you maximize the return on investment of that property to maximize the proceeds?
Right.
So, and that's what we do. Here at Premier Sotheby's as a luxury focused company, having been in business over 300 years as a Sotheby's auction house, and over 80 years in the real estate market in the luxury space. We generate over 157 billion dollars a year, and we are a listing house mainly of luxury properties. But because we have 27,000 agents across the world, we network throughout. So any seller will have the opportunity to leverage across all 27,000 realtors, because our networks are very, very close, and we're one of the only companies that can actually do this in this market worldwide.
Nice. That's beneficial to the clients.
Absolutely, because the home here in Orlando is a very attractive market for people all over the world. So we market to Dubai, we market to Spain, we market to Italy. We have agents in representation over 114 countries. So when we broadcast and we syndicate our products, not only to the local platforms, we do internationally and to our agents as well. So if that clients were looking to invest in this market, they have visibility to the properties that we list as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's a typical Walter Mackelburg client look like? What's the demographics? Where they come from? What's their buying power?
That's an interesting question that you post there, because I'm a very multicultural individual. Therefore, my clients are multicultural from different parts of the world. Me being South American, Spanish being my mother tongue, I have a tendency to gravitate towards those clients, but I'm actually open to all demographics. If you want to buy your first home, or you want to sell your high-end luxury home, I am going to help you identify your needs and identify your cultural mores, and be able to give the maximum return of investment in your purchase or in your sale. I don't know if that answers your question.
Sure, that makes sense. You're well versed in any type of buyer, really, or seller.
Yeah, pretty much it, yes.
Okay. So what is your farmland? What area do you service?
Well, I worked at Lake Nona, Moss Park, Orlando in general, Waterford Lakes, but I service and I entertain opportunities that go all the way from New Smyrna to the West Coast.
So let's say there's a buyer or seller that may be watching this video now, and they are shopping for a realtor. What should they be looking for? What advice do you have to help them find the right person, the match for them?
Well, I believe that number one is don't settle for the first one. Interview several of them. See which one of them is the one that is going to give you the level of communication that meets your expectation, and then what type of company they have behind, what type of franchise they have behind to support the network that you need to sell your property. So I will say, how many agents do you have that you can network with? What kind of marketing you're going to be doing for? Those are the type of questions that you want to make sure to ask the agent you're interviewing before you make a decision which one you want to go through. And in the process, you're going to identify if the level of communication of that client is good enough to meet your expectations.
Right. And earlier I heard you mention reviews as well.
Actually, yes, absolutely. Testimonials and reviews are very important to verify and to confirm.
Google reviews, what other platforms can they check?
Well, there's testimonials, there is Google reviews, there's many of them out there, but the truth is that reviews are reviews, but when you meet with the agent, ask him about those specific reviews. What were the opportunities that they were able to address at that time? Because the testimony of a testimony, but a client will be able to confirm that once the agent is sharing that specific testimonial opportunity. What was the process like, and why was the client satisfied with them?
That makes sense. I like it. So let's say that a seller wants to list with you and is asking you, what marketing are you going to do that's above and beyond? How are you going to make my home stand out above the other ones?
Well, we do the not just the basic, but we go beyond. We use the signage, you do your advertising, we syndicate to multiple platforms. But most important, one of the greatest value that we bring is our network of realtors that we have worldwide, 27,000 of them. So we're not limited to just this market. We bring an entire team to you. You're working. I'm your point center of communication, but you have a whole team behind that is going to be working with you. And who do I ally with? Who is my inspection house? Who is my title company? Who is my mortgage partner? Who do I work with? All those individuals are value that I bring, not just to do the marketing of the property, but also securing the transaction to make sure that whatever flaws exist within the opportunity are addressed promptly and effectively, so we maximize the time and the return investment.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah, good stuff. Tell me about a time, and I'm sure you had several, but there was a difficult, an obstacle, somewhere where you had to negotiate through a transaction and get your client to the closing table. You know, stuff pops up all the time. If it's not an inspector, it's an appraiser or something else going on with the transaction.
Well, I remember I had these clients that were selling an investment property, and they had been advised, not just by me, but my accountant, that actually they needed a 1031 exchange in order to transfer the proceeds and don't have to be penalized with a tax impact. And then all of a sudden we come to the very end, to the date of closing, and they have not done their 1031 exchange in spite of the many invitations. So at that time, I was working with our common friends, Alice Martinez, who actually was able to pull a 1031 exchange expert from her office and be able to secure that transaction at the very end, because it was going to fall through unless we had the 1031 exchange process in place, or my clients were going to be impacted with a very high tax impact.
Right.
So that was one of, but there's no transaction that ever goes smooth. Every single one of them will have a challenge, but that's what makes the difference between a good realtor and a mediocre one. And a good realtor is able to have that team, the partnerships, and the ability to address these issues from the very beginning to the end.
Sure, yeah. I don't see obstacles as a problem, an issue. They're an opportunity. Like that right there can get you another positive review. So
it's absolutely, and yes, it actually did. Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. All right. So let's say a client decides to go with you. What would be their next step once they choose Walter?
Well, once
buyer or seller,
once they decide to go with me, we'll have a meeting. We have a contract signing, and we establish the methodology of communication and the methodology of addressing opportunities. And we have the timelines of the process and who's responsible for what at what times, and then we have a clear path of working strategy and communication strategy, because in a real estate transaction, if you have a clear path of communication, you are going to be set for success.
Essentially an itinerary for the entire transaction is what you'd lay it out for.
That's pretty much the agenda, the itinerary, the schedule, the working order,
right,
of how we're going to get things done, and who's responsible for what, and then establish those times, make sure the property is available at the time that needs to be done, that it needs to be there. We're going to make sure that the parties are going to be addressing the issues that come about, in a timely manner, and we set those limits and those timelines.
Okay. How often should a real estate agent update their clients throughout the transaction?
You know what? Each client is different. Some of them like to be updated every day. Some others like to be updated once a week. The other would just give me a report every couple of weeks, and I'm fine with that. You know, you do it. I like to communicate best through text message, or I like to communicate through email, and we can accommodate. We have access to all the technology, and that's one of the questions when I interview my clients is, which is the best way to communicate? How do you want to be informed? Like today, driving here, I received one of my clients that I have a property in the 55 plus community of Solivita, and he every week, on this day on this Thursday, he has me give me an update what's going on with the property as far as the advertising campaign that you did last week, and as far as how many showings you have had. And then I will, get back to him. And he only likes to communicate through text message. And he's he's down in Texas, and he's got a property that he's selling here. Property is vacant, and I will be doing that report to him. But it is all depends on the clients and what is the best way of communication, as far as the language, as far as the vehicle of communication, and as far as the way of presenting. Some of them like detail reports, and some of them just like the facts.
I'm the same way. I can accommodate any communication platform. I agree. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what hobbies do you have? Tell us a bit more about Walter.
Oh my goodness, you're touching an area that, well, let me tell you, hobbies, I have them all.
And I know he likes horses. Like right now there's a picture of Walter and his horse. Walter's on the right? See him there? No, just kidding. What hobbies do you have?
Well, I do. Horses are my passion. Motorcycles are my passion. Kayaking, water sports. I love to hike. Love to go trekking into the mountains as well. My sons live in California, so every time I get a chance to visit, I go. One of my youngest son is a battalion chief at Cal Fire, so his office is the woods, the mountains in Northern Cal. So we spend a lot of time climbing, hiking, and getting the mountains review. So if I'm not selling real estate, I'm traveling somewhere in the world doing one of these activities, one of the sports. And of course, I love my dogs, and my horses are part of my family.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I like it. That's what makes you cultured too.
Absolutely.
All right. So English, Spanish, any other languages, or are you just fluent in those two?
You know what is English, Spanish, and Portuñol? You know what Portuñol they call it? The mix of the guy that cannot speak Portuguese or Spanish, they speaks in between. They mix the two of them, a blend of them. It's called Portuñol. But we joke around like that in the Brazilian Portuguese and Spanish community. But that's what I will not say that I speak Portuguese fluently, but I can understand it because I travel plenty to Brazil, and I spend time opening offices for the companies I work for, so I can understand clearly, but it's not, I don't put it on my profile. Spanish and English. English I try, Spanish is my mother tongue, so.
All right, good stuff. Well, I appreciate you sitting down with me today. That covers it for today, guys. If you want to reach out to Walter, all of his information is below. As he said, call, text, email, whatever you want to do. Get a hold of him. Any last words?
Well, just once again, Jay, I want to thank you very much for this opportunity to talk to this audience, and just call me up, and I'll be glad to help. And if I'm the right agent for you, love to help you. You will not regret it. You'll be impressed, and we'll make it happen for you.
Beautiful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.